So now that the 2025 NFL trade deadline is behind us, we're over halfway through this year's NFL season. I wanted to do an NFL future check-in today and basically rank every single NFL team on how I think their next 3 to 5 years can look like. What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? I have 5 different tiers. We're going to throw all 32 NFL teams in here today. We have the elite tier. You're going to be good right now. I think you're going to be good in the future. You have one of the best futures in the NFL. Maybe you already have an immense amount of talent, or you have great draft capital, you have a lot of projected cap space this upcoming spring. Yeah, best of the best. Things look pretty good. Like, maybe there's something, maybe it's a franchise quarterback, maybe your defense isn't as good, maybe it's head coaching, something like that doesn't have you in elite, but you're right there. 50-50. I think your next 3 to 5 years can go either way. You can really take advantage of the situation you're in right now, or you can end up blowing it. Like, if I made this tier list 2 years ago, the Houston Texans maybe would have been an elite or right here, but now it would have made sense to put them in 50-50. It could have gone either way. Next up, you better ace the draft, because maybe you're banking a lot on the draft capital you have, and then you have dark days ahead. Not necessarily saying that you're in a terrible position, but I'm going to think over the next 3 to 5 years, you're probably not going to be a great team unless something falls into your lap. You have maybe 5 hits on a certain draft class or something like that. That's maybe a little bit of an outlier. So we're going to start off with the New Orleans Saints, a team that maybe has their franchise quarterback. We have no idea. So they recently benched Spencer Rattler for Tyler Shuck, who's going to be starting again this week for the New Orleans Saints. This is a team that did trade away Rashid Shaheed at the deadline. That was really it. Right now, they're projected to get around the 4th overall pick in this NFL draft, but they have a solid draft capital situation. They have a 1st, 2nd, 3rd. They're going to have projected 2 4ths right now, one from the Rashid Shaheed trade, another comp pick, 2 5ths, and a 6th. You can definitely work with that going forward, but the thing that kind of stinks with them looking forward, their caps situation, it is not good. If you look at their active cap space, yeah, they are 4th worst basically in the projected cap going forward with all their dead money that's going to be on the books. Like, you have Dallas, Kansas City, Minnesota, at least teams that are miles better than New Orleans right now. So honestly, I think it's dark days ahead for the Saints, but we kind of knew that right now. We have no idea if they're going to draft a Ty Simpson, or they're going to take a Mendoza, Dante Moore. How are things going to look? Like, you have Olave, who's probably in his prime right now. They're going to have to extend him soon. Kamara, maybe he's not going to be around much longer, at least playing at this high of a level. Kendra Miller, who's maybe going to eventually replace Kamara, just tore his ACL. I like what they've done in the draft. Like, Fuaga and Kelvin Banks do look like cornerstone offensive linemen for this team, but the defense is old. I like Kool-Aid McKinstry, but like, maybe your best defensive player, Demario Davis, is not going to be here much longer either. I don't think the Saints are going to be good next year. I doubt they're good in 2027. Who knows how it's going to look after that. For Miami, oh boy, I kind of want to say it's dark days ahead as well for this team. I mean, Miami's taken a massive step back this year. They clearly had this window with Tyreek Hill, Tua Tagovailoa, Mike McDaniel kind of reinventing the offense. Now their draft pick situation does look solid. They got a 3rd from the Houston Texans. They have a 3rd from the Philadelphia Eagles. So you have 3 thirds. Like, maybe I'm actually going to bump them up a tier, because the new GM taking over Chris Greer's job can actually change this team around a little bit through the draft. I have no idea who their quarterback is going to look next year, but say you trade away Tyreek Hill. What is his trade value? Maybe ends up getting cut after the injury he suffered, sadly, but this team needs to add corners. They need to add offensive linemen. The defensive line was really bad this year. I don't know if Minka's going to be here going forward. This is going to be a pivotal draft class for them, because if they don't ace this draft, they're easily going to go down a tier a year from now. So yeah, I'm going to have them there. I mean, Baltimore, you have a top 3 quarterback, top 4 quarterback in the NFL in Lamar Jackson. So I want to always say that you're going to have an elite future, but look at the Bengals with Joe Burrow. I'm going to say things look pretty good. Maybe I end up bumping them up a tier if I maybe don't love every team in elite, but this defense has been banged up this year. It's still got some young, talented players, right? Kyle Hamilton is not even close to his prime yet. Nate Wiggins can be a blossoming corner in this league. This team kills the comp pick game every single year. They're going to have 4 5th rounders, which they can use to get into the 4th rounder. They're probably going to make the playoffs this year. At least I think that they will. And they have Lamar Jackson. I don't know how much longer Derrick Henry is going to be doing this. It doesn't really matter who a receiver is for this team, because Lamar Jackson will still put up MVP numbers day in and day out. Tyler Linderbaum is going to be a staple there. Maybe the offensive line can get better over time. I mean, Ravens fans might not like him anymore, but John Harbaugh has been objectively a winning coach for this team. So I'm going to say things look pretty good. They may end up going in elite. Cincinnati, I mean, it's 50-50. I can't put them in dark days ahead because they have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. You better ace the draft. They haven't really done that in recent memory. They've whiffed on a lot of first round and day 2 picks. So I think it's 50-50. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to see Joe Burrow requesting a trade, but he's suffered a lot of injuries in his career. He's going to come back this year on Thanksgiving. They're still technically alive right now, but the defense is awful. They can't stop anybody this year. Mason Rudolph looked like a competent quarterback. Kenneth Gainwell looked like an elite running back against this team. Everybody looks good against the Cincinnati Bengals, and their offensive line isn't great either. Yes, they have 2 elite receivers, one of the best in the game, one of the best quarterbacks in the game, a good young running back, but you're not going to really figure things out if your defense is as garbage as it is, and the offensive line as well. They kind of missed on the Miles Murphy pick, Amarius Mims as well, and then Shamar Stewart this year hasn't really been what they wanted him to be. So I'm going to say 50-50. I can't, yeah, like I said, I can't even say you better ace the draft. Like, this team maybe should think about moving T. Higgins in the offseason and maybe shuffling around where they're investing all their capital. So, Denver, things look pretty good for Denver, I would say. I don't know if I want to put them in elite. I think I could. They own their first rounder this year. They're the best team in the NFL with 9 wins since they haven't had their bye week yet. They have some nice draft capital in this upcoming class. You have a good young running back. Now he's 24 and RJ Harvey, but I think he's going to be a solid running back. J.K. Dobbins might be out for the year. The receivers could definitely be hit or miss over the next few years. Like, how much longer is Courtland Sutton going to be a wide receiver 1 for you? You whiffed on the Evan Ingram signing. You have Pat Bryant, who I like, who they took later in the 2025 NFL draft, but this defense is really freaking good. Pat Surtain, Nick Bonito, those are just like cornerstone blue chip defensive players for you. You sign Hufanga and Greenlawn, you have Brandon Jones, and you have all these guys. You have Riley Moss, you have Jahdae Barron, who really hasn't gotten going this year, but I still think could be a great corner in this league. You have Zach Allen and John Franklin Myers. This defense is great. Sean Payton has been a good head coach with Bo Nix so far, and I don't think Bo Nix is a top 10 quarterback, but he won last year. They're winning this year with him. I think things are looking pretty good for this team right now. I think maybe if I did this last year, they could have gone 50-50 because, like, do you believe in Bo Nix going forward? And you know what? They're winning right now. So I'm going to have them and things look pretty good. For the Giants, like, I want to say you better ace the draft, but they're going to, like, they have, I think, their franchise quarterback in Jackson Dart. He's looked good when he's here. They're going to hire a new head coach, most likely. You have your RB1 in Scotabo. Hopefully Malik Neighbors is ready week 1. I think he will be. It's an ACL tear. It's a quicker recovery timeline than it's been in years past. Wan'Dale Robinson, fine, like wide receiver 2. They paid Darius Slayton, so I think he'll be here. But maybe they bring in like a Jordan Tyson in the draft. Maybe you draft another offensive lineman. They definitely need to add some corners in the offseason, but this is a top 5 defensive line in the sport. I think this is going to be a very appealing head coaching job. So I think it's like, can you get another pass catcher for Dart? Maybe you upgrade tight end. Maybe it's a wide receiver 2. Can Dart stay healthy next year and really capitalize on the momentum he has right now? And can you add enough in the secondary going forward? I know you spent on Javon Holland. Tyler Nubin hasn't really worked out. Deontay Banks hasn't worked out after firing Wink Martindale. And then you also have Paulson Adebo. You have Drew Phillips. Like, there's names back there, but it hasn't really been working out this year. I think it's 50-50. Like, whose future over the next 3 to 5 years do you like more, Cincy or New York? Could be a little bit of a debate. Minnesota, 50-50. I don't want to say there's dark days ahead. Now, JJ McCarthy has not looked great for this team whatsoever. They might be regretting letting Sam Darnold walk, right? Sam Darnold worked out with Kevin O'Connell, and JJ McCarthy has not been getting it done for this team. But I think Kevin O'Connell's very smart. I think Kowalski's very smart as the main decision maker in the front office. This defense is still solid. You have Justin Jefferson. You have Jordan Addison. The offensive line is still good enough, especially when Christian Darrisaw is healthy. And I just trust Kevin O'Connell as an offensive line. 50-50 is if JJ McCarthy can develop, which things can go up to here or here, given how good they were last year. And if JJ McCarthy doesn't develop, how quickly do you realize it's a sunk cost? Let's move on in a different direction. And then maybe we take a chance on, I don't know, a disgruntled quarterback down the line or a change of scenery quarterback like they did with Sam Darnold, which worked out. They brought in Daniel Jones and he's working out for the Colts. So I think they're 50-50 right now. They have plenty of talent on this roster, but we'll see if the front office, the head coaching staff, can develop JJ McCarthy, and if they can't, like, do they pull the plug next year? Do they bring in like a Daniel Jones type quarterback, kind of like the Colts did with Anthony Richardson going into year number 3 this year? The Rams, like, it's just Stafford's old, which makes me hesitate putting them in elite, but like Puka's going to be good for a while. This offensive line could be I don't know. Like, I trust Sean McVay. The offensive line has been good this year, but it is a little bit older. The defense is so good and young with Jared Verse kind of headlining that defense. And they're going to have a projected top 10 pick right now. It's at number 8 from the Atlanta Falcons, who traded up to take James Pierce Jr. So they're going to have maybe a top 15 pick, guaranteed probably a top 15 pick, maybe a top 10 pick. They're going to have another first rounder, a second, a third, a fifth, so no fourth, but they're going to have 2 6, 2 7s. Like I said, they have one of the best offensive-minded head coaches in the game in McVay. Les Snead knows what he's doing in that front office. And you have like a true wide receiver one. You have a good defense. Kyren Williams has been fine enough as a running back, right? And they've made definitely it worked before with a lot less. It's just like Stafford might have like 2 more good years left. Who knows? I don't know how many years he's going to have left. When will they maybe draft his successor and his replacement? I'm going to say it's elite though. Like, I trust Stafford if he stays healthy. I trust Sean McVay. They have 2 first rounders this year. I think it's an elite future going forward over the next like 3 to 5 years. But I kind of want to bump up just because it's Lamar Jackson, but we'll see. I think Tampa Bay things look pretty good as well. You have Baker Mayfield. You have Emeka Buka, who's going to be your wide receiver one for a while. It sucks Bucky's been banged up this year, but I mean, a lot of people on Tampa Bay has been banged up. The offensive line has been banged up a ton. I also should have mentioned for LA, they're going to have a lot of cap space in 2026 too. So keep an eye on that. Like, I'm not sure if Jamel Dean is back next year. They lost Kalijah Kancey for the year as well. They've had a bunch of injuries, but this team just kind of wins. They lose Dave Canales. They lose Liam Cohen, but Baker Mayfield is your franchise quarterback going forward. Mike Evans is out for the year. Godwin was banged up to start off the year. Jalen McMillan was banged up, but Baker's going to get it done either way. Like, I like Baker over the next 3 to 5 years more than I like Bo Nix, but it's just like Denver has a more complete roster right now. And I don't know what, like, I don't know. You would think that the AFC is a little bit tougher because it's like Herbert, Burrow, Lamar, Allen, Mahomes. So I guess that benefits Baker a little bit in the NFC. I think still for the Lions, things look pretty good in the future. They've been hitting on draft picks. I'm not totally sold on like Tyreek Williams or Terrion Arnold, who were their most recent first rounders, but Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 3, top 5 running back in the NFL. Amon-Ra St. Brown is an elite wide receiver 1. J-Mo is an elite wide receiver 2 in that role specifically. They have a true tight end 1 in Sam Laporta. The offensive line took a lot of hits in the offseason, but it still looks good this year. And you have Aiden Hutchinson, one of the best pass rushers in the game. You have Jack Campbell. Alex Anzalone might not be here forever, but just gives you good reps every single year. I think things still look pretty good. Dan Campbell, I know, took a lot of risks against the Eagles recently, but like things have looked fine post Ben Johnson. I think they're going to be fine over the next 3 to 5 years. Like, I like their future more than the Giants, Vikings, and Bengals at the moment. I mean, Bears, I kind of want to put in elite. Like, it's close to that because I like Caleb Williams more than I like Bo Nix. But do I like him more than Baker over the next 3 to 5 years? That's tough. I like Lamar more, obviously. I think I like Caleb over the next 3 to 5 years more than I like Jared Goff, who can't play in the cold and outdoors. And the Bears now have a competent head coach in Ben Johnson. You have a wide receiver one, in my opinion, in Rome Odunze. They got to figure out the running game, but the defense, it's kind of held its own at times this year. It's been up and down. The offensive line looks great outside that one tackle spot. And I just trust Ben Johnson, and I still believe in Caleb Williams. I loved him in college. I thought he was the right number 1 pick. Maybe you want Drake May still. Who cares? I still think Caleb Williams will be a franchise quarterback. So I think things look pretty good. San Francisco, this is a good 50-50, I think, in my opinion. So they paid Brock Purdy all that money. He looked good in his first game back recently against the Cardinals. Christian McCaffrey has been elite this year, but you never know with his injury health. Brandon Ayuk still hasn't played this year. Ricky Pearsall's been banged up. Does Juwan Jennings even want to be there? Greg Kittle is great, but kind of gets hurt every year. This defense has been cursed. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, their first round pick, Michael Williams. Everybody has been hurt. Even Bryce Huff has been hurt this year. I trust John Lynch to an extent. I definitely trust Kyle Shanahan as a head coach. They have Mac Jones on a 2-year deal, so they may even trade him for like a second rounder. Who knows in the offseason? I don't think he would go for a first. So I think the Niners next couple years can go either way. It's a tough division. Their future does not look as promising as it did when Brock Purdy was making last pick in the NFL draft money, but it's going to be a pivotal, I think, offseason for them. That's for sure. Eagles, it's still an elite future. They just won the Super Bowl. They're the best team in the NFC this year. Jalen Hurts is still in his prime. I know the offense has been disappointing, but even if A.J. Brown comes and goes, Devonta Smith is a little bit younger. Saquon Barkley, I still think, has a couple more good years left as well. And they just continue to hit on draft picks like this year. Jahad Campbell, Andrew Mukuba, Howard Roseman does it, man. He does it every single year. They may lose a Milton Williams. They may lose a Josh Sweat, but guys step up, even though they're picking incredibly late in the draft. Like, they'll take Jalen Phillips. If he works out for them, maybe they re-sign him. If not, they'll get a comp pick. Yeah, the Eagles have an elite future, in my opinion. I mean, the Raiders, I think it's dark days ahead. This offensive line is so bad, and you took a running back with no offensive line. Now, maybe it was just like a first-year Pete Carroll thing. He's not great in his first year, but you don't have your franchise quarterback. Your head coach is very old, and I don't think he wants to be there for a rebuild. I don't know if they're going to speed this thing up. They don't really have a great defense. They maybe whiffed on the Tyree Wilson pick. They have Max Crosby, but there was thoughts that they could trade him. The secondary isn't great. I don't know, man. The Raiders, it's tough. You traded Jacoby Myers. I'm excited to see more Thornton. Hopefully Besh in the second half as well. Trey Tucker's fine. Brock Bowers is elite. You hit on that draft pick. Like, Bowers and Gentry are fun, but this team has no offensive line at the moment. They don't have their franchise quarterback. I mean, this could be a Ty Simpson team. This could be a Dante Moore. This could be a Fernando Mendoza team. I think there's dark days ahead for the Raiders, which sucks. I don't know if I want to say you better ace the draft because, like, I don't know. I think Miami at least has more talent. And, like, Tua is better than Geno Smith. I know the bar is very low, but I think there's dark days ahead right now. The Packers, I don't know. They're an interesting team over the next 3 to 5 years because Jordan Love is the guy. And I like Matt LaFleur. I don't even know why he's been brought up in, like, is he on the hot seat rumors? You have Micah Parsons. I mean, you've had plenty of wide receiver injuries this year. You've had offensive line injuries. And Josh Jacobs recently got hurt. I don't know. Like, do I want to put them in 50-50? Because, like, the defense isn't great. I don't know if I really loved, like, the Nate Hobbs signing or Aaron Banks signing. They're a tough team to figure out. Like, I think if I have, like, Chicago and Detroit in here, I should have Green Bay in here because this team has their franchise quarterback. So I'm going to throw them and things look pretty good. Like, I think you guys are going to be competitive over the next 3 to 5 years. Washington, you better ace the draft. That's for sure because you don't have that many draft picks. You got to hit on these spots for sure. Adam Peters did not do a great job last offseason. Now, I don't mind Josh Connerly. I love the Laramie Tunsil pickup, but Deebo Samuel does not look like a great pickup right now. Doesn't look like it was a smart move to trade for Marshawn Lattimore last year. You have your franchise quarterback in Jaden Daniels, who took a ton of hits this year. The running game has been so inconsistent in year 2 of Jaden Daniels. You moved on from Brian Robinson. It's been a little bit of Bill. It's been a little bit of Rodriguez, McNichols. Maybe it's 50-50 because you have that franchise quarterback in Jaden Daniels, who is a better quarterback than McCarthy. He's a better quarterback than Dart. You can make an argument he's a better quarterback than Purdy, not Burrow, but Burrow and this team just comes back on, will they fire Zach Taylor? I'm not sure. And is this front office competent enough going forward? So you have Jaden Daniels. You're in a better spot than Miami, that's for sure. The Cardinals, dark days ahead. I mean, I don't know if Jonathan Gannon's going to be here next year. Drew Petzing is probably not going to be here next year as the offensive coordinator. Is Kyler Murray going to be here next year? Marvin Harrison looks good, but he hasn't shown that he's like Malik Neighbors good at the top. They definitely need another wide receiver. They definitely need an offensive line. Trey McBride's in his prime right now. James Conner just suffered a major injury, and he's on the older side for a running back. The defense, it's got some playmakers, right? Like, I like Will Johnson, that draft pick. I like Walter Nolan. I obviously like the Josh Sweat signing. He's been good for this team this year, but like, how much more great years are you going to get out of Budda Baker? They're not really in the top teams of cap space right now either because that Kyler Murray contract is pretty big. I think there's dark days ahead for the Cardinals. And maybe, hey, if you go through the darkest days in 2026, 2028 and 2029 is going to look good. But if you try to like salvage 2026 and you're like 8-9, but you like invest yourself and leverage yourself so much into like a 1 to 2 year window, you're going to hit these dark days in 5 years from now. For Pittsburgh, I think it's you better ace the draft. This team is old. They have the most expensive defense, and it's not been good. Mike Tomlin likes to get to his 9-8 every year. We know that. 10-7 every year. Rodgers is your quarterback, your starting quarterback, not your franchise quarterback. But will he be here next year? Who knows? He just recently suffered a wrist injury. I like Jalen Warren. I still have hope for Caleb Johnson. Arthur Smith is never going to throw to a top guy. The DK contract isn't great, but you had to do it. You still have good defenders. Like TJ Watt still has, I think, a couple more good years left. Cameron Hayward is definitely a little bit older, but I like the Derek Harmon pick. The secondary is all over the place, depending if Ramsey can give you a couple more years. I think the Steelers have to ace the draft going forward. They will have a little bit more draft capital this year. I still think Baltimore wins this division, but they have some nice draft picks, right? You have a first, a second, a third from the Pickens trade. Pickens wasn't going to be this good in Pittsburgh. I promise you that. You might get a third comp. I think you will get one from Fields. You're probably not going to get one from like Najee or Russell Wilson, unfortunately. So I don't know how accurate these are going to be, but they should have a decent amount going forward to maybe move up for a quarterback. That's the big thing. Like, who's going to be their quarterback? Will they ever draft one in the first round? It's not going to be Will Howard, most likely. So will they take a chance on like a Kyler Murray? Would they take a chance on a Mac Jones? I don't know if we'll ever get to that point. They need to ace the draft going forward. Like, at least all these teams have either won their franchise quarterback, and for Minnesota, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt going forward because of the front head coaching staff and front office for the time being. Buffalo, it's elite. You have Josh Allen. They've been good every single year. Josh Allen gets it done with just kind of mediocre receiving options. James Cook's a good running back. The defense has been a little bit of a letdown this year, but man, we thought Buffalo was going to be a letdown last year. I didn't, but people did. That was a take I was right on, that I thought Buffalo was still going to win the AFC East last year when people had the Jets, people had the Dolphins. Nobody had the Patriots last year. But yeah, I like the Bills, and they end up becoming one of the best teams in the AFC. I think it's elite going forward. Atlanta, oh boy. Penix suffers another injury. He's had some injuries in his career. You have a wide receiver one. You have a running back one. You got some good offensive line. I mean, the defense has looked great this year, but I think, oh man, it's tough for them. Like, I want to say you better ace the draft, but you gave up potentially a top 10 pick. It could get worse than that for James Pierce. You have 5 draft picks, 2 of those being on day, or 3 of those being on day 3, 4th, 6th, and a 7th. Oh boy. Oh boy. Are we sold on Michael Penix as the guy? Are we sold on Raheem Morris as the head coach of this team? Like, I like Xavier Watts. I like Walker. I like James Pierce. I mean, I want to say you better ace the draft, but I think there's dark days ahead for the Atlanta Falcons, which is tough. Not having a first round pick stinks. Seattle, like, it's hard to differentiate these things you're looking. Like, I think all these teams here in tier 2 are going to be good going forward. I just don't know going forward. Like, maybe if I have the Rams up here, I should also have like Baltimore. Maybe we're going to eventually add some teams up there at the end of the day. But Seattle, Mike McDonald looks like still a good young head coach in this league. They had a good record last year. The NFC was pretty competitive. This year, Sam Darnold looks like the guy. JSN is a wide receiver one. It was very smart for this team to move off of DK Metcalf. You hit on the Nick Warrior pick, in my opinion. Gray Zabel looks like he's a good offensive line. This offensive line has changed drastically from Geno Smith last year. Now, they need to hit on the draft for sure. They need to hit on their first rounder and second rounder because this situation isn't great. Maybe this is definitely a clear trade out of the first round team to pick up additional fourths or fifths in this class. So we'll be on the lookout for that. But I think they're going to be competitive in the NFC West. And I trust the overall making of this team and the youth and what they have over like San Fran right now, who I think has a lot of big pivotal points soon. Patriots, I think I have to put them in elite. Like Drake May, like I'm still taking Lamar Jackson. I'm still taking Joe Burrow over Drake May, but you have your franchise quarterback in Drake May. I think you have your franchise running back in Travion Henderson. You got to figure out the wide receivers, but the offensive line is drastically improved. The defense looks great this year. You have a true CB1 in Christian Gonzalez, and this team is going to have a lot of cap space going forward. They're going to have plenty of cap space in 2026, which is very exciting for this team. And yeah, they've done a good job in the past. It looks like they drafted well. And look at this draft pick situation. This is really nice to look at. I know it's a lot of 6 rounders, but 2 fourths. You have your first, your second, your third, your fifth. 3, 6, hey, maybe you move up into the 5th with those. They're in a good spot. Mike Vrabel's the guy going forward. I think they have an elite future. And they're going to probably win the AFC East. Cleveland, like a part of me wants to say you better ace the draft. This defense is good. Like you have the best defensive player in the NFL. You have a CB1 in Denzel Ward. I like your rookie class. Quinshon Judkins, Mason Graham. I know it's been up and down with him, but I like him going forward. Carson Schwarzenegger looks great. He could win Defensive Rookie of the Year. You just need a quarterback. So I think I think they're going to fire Kevin Stefanski, but Jacksonville could land them a non-playoff first round pick on top of theirs. It just depends if they do take Simpson, Mendoza, Moore, and are they the guy going forward? Because they have a really good draft capital situation. I don't mind Jerry Jeudy as a wide receiver too. They have 2 solid tight ends. I think they could have a better 3 to 5 year outlook than the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know it's the Browns. I know it's the Steelers. So you could just have like default to that, right? Like it's the Browns, so they're never going to be good. You could definitely say that. Like you could say that about the Raiders. We could say that about the Jets. I think they're not in the worst situation ever. You're going to eventually get off the Deshaun Watson money very soon. It's just you got to ace the draft going forward. Houston, I think this is a clear 50-50 team. I kind of want to honestly say you better ace the draft. Now, Stroud is better than anything Cleveland has for the future, anything Pittsburgh has, and I doubt Tua was there for the future. So I think they're in the 50-50 spot because you have CJ Stroud, who I still believe can be a good coach, or who I still believe can be a good quarterback in this league. Your draft pick situation looks a lot better this year than it has basically since that 2023 draft, which you absolutely aced. They could continue to improve the offensive line, that's for sure. I mean, their wide receiver and running game has been all over the place this year with injuries, so this defense is too good for the team not to be pretty good. I want to say things look pretty good, but we need to see it on display going forward. They have the ammunition, they have the assets. We got to see it out there. Kansas City, it's always going to be elite with Patrick Mahomes. You still have the best quarterback in the league, in my opinion. I know they've been disappointing this year, but I still feel like they're so much better than their record shows. I don't know how much longer Andy Reid is going to coach. Would they move on from Matt Nagy? They obviously had Rashee Rice be suspended. Travis Kelce could retire at the end of the year. They still have defensive playmakers. They need to add a running back. I don't know why they didn't trade for Breece Hall at the deadline, but I think it's elite. Dallas, you better ace the draft. I don't think there's dark days ahead. You have Dak Prescott. You just traded for Quinnen Williams, but this team also just traded away one of their first rounders for Quinnen Williams. You just traded away Micah Parsons. You traded away your second or third rounder, for George Pickens. Now they do have 2 first rounders. They're going to have at least 1 first rounder in 2027, the worst of their pick or Green Bay's. If you hit on these picks, like you have Javonte Williams, you have CeeDee Lamb, pay George Pickens, you have Jake Ferguson, you've invested in the offensive line in recent drafts. We got to take corners and edge rushers. And if you hit on these picks, things are going to look good. Like if Siobhan Revel is a good corner, he just played. Quinnen Williams is the guy for you going forward. Overshow just came back from an injury. They got to fix the secondary. And if you can, hey, this team could look pretty good going forward. The Chargers, I think things look pretty good as well. I think these are all competent organizations right now and things look pretty good. You have your franchise quarterback. You have a smart head coach. The defense has some playmakers and has stepped up for you this year. And this team is looking like they're going to make the playoffs with a terrible offensive line right now with Slater hurt, Becton hurt, Alt hurt. Everybody's kind of hurt. Najee got hurt. Hampton got hurt. You're playing Kamani Vidal and Hassan Hatkins got hurt. And you're playing Patterson. Like this team has had so many injuries in the trenches this year and they're still looking okay. I mean, they're a very hot and cold team. Impressive win against Pittsburgh. You beat the Chiefs early in the year. You get blown out by the Jaguars. So I still think they're going to be fine going forward. I like Herbert more than every quarterback here outside of Joe Burrow. The Jets, probably dark days ahead. A part of me wants to say you better ace the draft, but like New Orleans, I think they're just going to be bad. Like they're going to be bad next year. They're probably going to be bad in 2027 where they have 3 first round picks. And then if I redid this tier list, you better ace the draft. I just think they're going to be bad going forward. And they can maybe sell the fan base on the draft picks because they have a great draft pick situation after trading Sauce, after trading Quinnen Williams, like 2 first rounders this year, 2 second rounders. So Dallas gave up their second rounder in the Quinnen trade. You got plenty of 6, plenty of 7s. You have 3 first rounders in 2027 as well. You have Garrett Wilson. I assume they're going to transition tag or do something with Breece Hall since they didn't trade him away. I love the offensive line. Like if you re-sign Vera Tucker, you have Tippmann, you have Simpson. They're going to bring back at least one of those guys going forward. You have Membu, you have Fashanu. Like the defense is probably going to look so different next year. And that's what they need to work on. You need a wide receiver too. You need a lot. You need a quarterback. They don't have a quarterback. Dark days are ahead. But this one is it feels like a little bit of an outlier from these 4. Carolina, it's 50-50. I mean, Carolina's been good this year. Right now, they are right outside a playoff spot at 6-5. I think Dave Canales is the guy. Bryce Young, it's so obviously hot and cold. Like he looked so bad 2 weeks ago, and then he looked so good against Atlanta. He only looks good maybe against Atlanta. They've hit on the Tep pick. I think they hit on the next Gordon pick. You have Derek Brown. You have J.C. Horn. Like you have guys defensively. Like Rico Dowdle looks great for the team. The offensive line is solid this year. I think it's 50-50, and it all banks on Bryce Young's development and their drafting. Tennessee, dark days are ahead. Yeah, I mean, at least you're going to be picking maybe number 1. I don't know if this is going to be an Arvell Reese pick. I don't know if this is going to be a trade down and Jordan Tyson pick or anything like that, or Ruben Bain and trade down and take Caleb Downs. But this team needs a lot. They need corners. They need linebackers. They need maybe defensive linemen. We'll see. But the offensive line has been disappointing. Peter Skoronski's been fine, but J.C. Latham has been really disappointing this year. Unfortunately, Cam Ward can't really do too much. The running game isn't great. They fired Brian Callahan. The ownership is way too reactionary. I think it's dark days ahead for them. But it could come down on you better ace the draft. The Colts, I think it's 50-50. I know they're good this year. Like the Colts are right now with the 28th pick going to the Jets for Sauce Gardner. They're not going to have a first for the next 2 years from that trade. It's just all on Daniel Jones. I trust Shane Steichen. He's done enough with Gardner Minshew and Daniel Jones to make me think he's a great offensive-minded head coach. You have the best running back in the league right now. You have a good wide receiver trio of Pierce, Downs, and Pittman, and maybe an elite tight end right now or maybe soon in Tyler Warren. They've invested in the offensive line. They have a solid defense. They could win the Super Bowl this year. Like, they have enough talent to make a run. It just depends on Daniel Jones, what that contract looks like, and how does year 2 in Indy Daniel Jones look. And Jacksonville, I mean, it's 50-50. This team makes no sense. Like, you have Trevor Lawrence, you bring in Liam Cohen. They have so much talent, but I feel like they just do so much dumb shit throughout the games that just piss me off. I don't get it. It sucks Hunter's out for the year. Brian Thomas Jr. has been disappointing. Josh Hines Allen is like never kind of emerged as like a top 5 edge rusher. Trayvon Walker's been fine, but you took him over Aiden Hutchinson. You added Greg Newsome. Like, this team also so hot and cold this year. They'll have such bad losses. Like, they'll almost lose to the Raiders, and then you blow out the LA Chargers. I mean, they don't own their first rounder this year from the Travis Hunter trade, but they have decent enough thirds, and we'll see what James Gladstone can do with this team. I think the 50-50 also comes down, like, is Trevor Lawrence ever going to become a bona fide top 10 quarterback in this league? Because outside of maybe year number 2, he's never really looked like a top 10 QB. So I feel good about this. A part of me wants to maybe bump up the Ravens, because as long as you have Lamar Jackson, I think you're going to always be good. And I know they've not been great this year, but Lamar got hurt. So I think I'm going to bump up Baltimore, because we've talked about the AFC North. Like, I have these teams down here. They could definitely beat up on the North going forward, depending on what they do in the offseason. And you can let me know what you agree with or disagree with. I hope you guys did enjoy. Drop a thumbs up if you did. Let me know down below what you would have changed. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.